the elite group?
The elite go to the top 4 guys. You know what I'm saying? That's how I do elite. And like elite for me in the quarterback world is Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Lamar,
yeah,
and Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
you forgot Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is not in that group.
He is certainly, Colin. He went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, nearly won it, outplayed Mahomes, and then now beat down the Chiefs and Mahomes head-to-head. Dominated a Chiefs defense that you loved.
What GM in the league?
Is he not
What
there?
GM in the league, if given the 4 guys on the screen and Jalen Hurts, would take Hurts?
Well, I'm not saying you take Hurts over them, but he's in that group.
No, he's not.
Them's fighting words here, Cowherd. I will defend Jalen Hurts. I'm just telling you, man, where's the flaw in his game? What's the problem? What's the weakness?
He is not, as Greg Cosell tells you, the film says, he had 18 regular season touchdown passes. He is not a great pocket quarterback.
Okay, so Sam Darnold had 35. Does that mean he's elite?
No, it doesn't. The 4 guys that are elite are beyond just production. They can carry bad O-lines, bad defense.
Oh, really? Joe Burrow couldn't carry a bad team to the playoffs.
Got to the Super Bowl with
what
maybe
has he done since?
Oh, boy.
He could carry? Listen, obviously Burrow's great. I'm not knocking him. Those 4 are superstars. I think Hurts has reached that group.
I don't.
So who would you have as 5?
It doesn't matter. Darius Slay said these are the elite guys in the league, and that's who I would put
Darius Slay just released.
That doesn't mean he doesn't know who the elite quarterback.
Well, he's clearly upset that he got cut because Jalen Hurts got paid.
Well, everybody would
Saquon getting paid.
I don't.
Sour grapes.
If I got cut here, I'd be upset. It's okay to be upset.
So the other part that's a little weird is this isn't the first guy on the team who's had some issues, shall we say, with Jalen Hurts.
You know,
A.J. Brown, remember?
I like this about Jalen Hurts. Let me tell you something I like about Jalen
Good,
Hurts.
positive. Okay, let's hear it.
He doesn't care if you love him.
It's a great point.
You know who does? Jason Tatum.
I thought you were going to say Jason McIntyre.
No, I mean, Jalen Hurts. Troy Aikman wasn't losing any sleep because he had to rip a wide receiver's head off and yell at an OC. Troy Aikman didn't lose. Tom Brady never lost sleep ripping Josh McDaniels or yelling at receivers to get open. Peyton Manning's yelling at one of his best friends, Jeff Saturday. That's what leadership looks like.
No. Leadership looks different for everybody, Colin. You're the leader of this radio show, #1 show in the country.
Oh, whatever.
You're not yelling at people and cursing them out.
Oh, there have been days.
I've never witnessed it in the 2+ years on the show.
That's because you show up late and you don't go to our meeting.
Stop it. I'm on the call. I can hear everything. You're not ripping anybody. Leadership looks different to everyone. And I just because Jalen Hurts isn't barking at guys like Brady or Peyton doesn't mean he's not a superstar.
I like quarterbacks who don't need to be everybody's best friend. I'm totally cool with that. Leadership is doing uncomfortable things. If you want to be comfortable, that's the substitute teacher. Sometimes the teacher has to give you an F, makes you go to summer school. The substitute teacher never tells you to do that. The teacher does.
Boy, at this rate, we're never going to get Jalen Hurts or Jason Tatum on the sofa. He's not coming to the show. Not the way you're treating him. Next story, Colin.
Okay. Ooh, this is a juicy conversation that I'm looking forward to having here. I'm trying to figure out how the best way to do this, because this is definitely a landmine of a conversation with Philadelphia Eagles fans. Listen, I think Josh Allen, Mahomes, Joe Burrow, etc. Those 4 quarterbacks that Darius Slay mentioned are truly special, right? And I think Jalen Hurts' brand of special is so much harder to quantify because of the style of play. Like, on one side, yes, we saw Patrick Mahomes win in kind of different ways, putting up some cartoonish numbers, etc., right? We saw that. But then over the last couple of years, we see him win, not put up these amazing, extraordinary numbers. And yet people are like, yeah, but it's okay because he's winning and he's finding ways to win. That's what it's all about, etc. And now Jalen Hurts does that, and it's like not good enough. And this is what's so frustrating about the conversations around Jalen Hurts. Because, again, you had someone like Colin. You had a lot of people. But obviously, Colin really went into this. This Eagles team's not even going to get into the red zone. And now they are awesome. And Jalen Hurts is awesome. literally has one of the best performances in Super Bowl history. And he's now has 2 of the best Super Bowl performances in the history of the NFL against the reported juggernaut of the Kansas City Chiefs. That is elite. When you're playing special in the biggest games, like this is what kind of drives me crazy, because they're talking about the regular season. Well, we have Lamar Jackson, who's special, who plays, who puts up all these amazing numbers during the regular season and then not in the playoffs. Well, doesn't that matter? Then we have someone like a Jalen Hurts, who plays amazing in multiple Super Bowls, but then we want to say, yeah, but look what he did in week 7 against the Houston Texans, the Carolina Panthers. Like, okay, does it matter? Does it matter? Now, I think Jalen Hurts, for him to officially and firmly get rooted in the category of those other quarterbacks, I think that he would have to have like an MVP style year and ball out again in the Super Bowl, because that is his brand. Especially more than anything at this point now, it's Jalen Hurts balling out in these big games. Like, he could reach a point where it doesn't really matter what the regular season looks like. That the ultimate superpower of Jalen Hurts is just playing big time in big time moments in big time games. That would be, we're always looking for a superpower. Lamar Jackson, it's his legs. Josh Allen, it's his physicality, like, et cetera, et cetera. Joe Burrow, it's his arm, Mahomes, it's kind of a collection of things. And for Jalen Hurts, it wouldn't be his legs, it wouldn't be his arm, it wouldn't be this, it would be his ability to just be absolutely unshook. I said this before when they first won the Super Bowl, like that his superpower would be like, he plays in the Super Bowl like it's like he's just, up 21-0 in a high school game as a junior. It's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'm just playing, whatever. We're playing against some trash team that has no chance against us. Like, it just doesn't matter for him. And that's real, because Joe Burrow looks different in big games. Patrick Mahomes looks different in big games. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all quarterbacks that I think are great. Jalen Hurts does not. Jalen Hurts does not. So yeah, can Josh Allen have a bigger game in week 7 than Jalen Hurts? Yeah. It's a safe bet. Is a Josh Allen asked to do more oftentimes than a Jalen Hurts, especially to go out and win in a week 7? Yeah, I think he does. Has Jalen Hurts been on better teams? Absolutely. Absolutely. But at the same time, we see Jalen Hurts elevate. We've seen him elevate. He's not being carried by some great team. Does he take advantage of a great team? Absolutely. Just like Patrick Mahomes took advantage of Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Andy Reid, a great defense, etc., etc. So on one side, we can't say, Tom Brady himself, when the Chiefs were playing the 49ers, he said, listen, Patrick Mahomes is not caring about stats right now. It's all about winning games, and that's what he's doing. And that's where Jalen Hurts is. And we can't say, oh, this team wasn't even going to get into the red zone, and then have that offense be awesome because of Jalen Hurts. Don't tell me that it's just because of the defense, because Jalen Hurts still needed to run that offense. I already highlighted all those highlights, and I don't want to just keep rehashing that Super Bowl. But the things that Jalen Hurts had to do with his legs, the throws that he made at key important moments, where if he doesn't do that, then the game does have the potential to stay close. It just does. The game could go differently. But it was Jalen Hurts' incredibly high-level football, and not being able to rely just on Saquon Barkley. He made it happen. And we know the Eagles feel that way, because Colin's saying, well, this is what Darius Slay's saying. Okay, well, let's think about what the Eagles said. Because the first drive, it's 4th and 2, 4th and 3, and they asked Jalen Hurts, that non-special quarterback, to make a beautiful throw where if anything goes wrong, if that throw is just even remotely off, the Kansas City Chiefs get the ball, boom, at like the 50, whatever, wherever exactly it was. I mean, which can absolutely positively change the game. It could change everything. Everything. If you don't think that that's a massive moment, when I see Josh Allen make terrible throws, terrible decisions, where it pains me to write at the top of my notes that I take, Josh Allen looking a little reckless in the first drive against the for the Buffalo Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs in that AFC Championship game, I'm like, oh, the heck is this? And to not think that once in 2 full Super Bowls with Jalen Hurts, that is a superpower. That is elite. So if you don't want to call him like an overall elite quarterback, I could understand. He's a great quarterback who can play elite in the biggest moments. I think that technically is probably the safest evaluation of Jalen Hurts. And if he continues to play elite in these big moments, and also, dare I say, win another Super Bowl or so, well, then he's just an elite quarterback. It just is what he's just an elite quarterback. Yeah. Can he, is he the quarterback who's going to consistently put the whole team on his back week after week after week during the regular season? No, that's not him, because of just his physical abilities, because of his level of size and strength, whatever. That's fine. The way how the Eagles team is just developed, the way he's coached, the way he attacks the game, that's fine. But in big games, he is elite. He is special. They do rely on him. He needs to be the leading rusher again, all those types of things. And he does it. That would make him elite. That would make him elite. So, I'm going to understand why. I do understand why publicly there's some of that hesitation. Now, I think Darius Slay should have just said it, just from the human side of things. But, because I know a lot of Eagles fans will say, well, Lamar Jackson's never been to a Super Bowl, and Josh Allen's never been to a Super Bowl, and, he's better than them. They've been to 2. I am a firm believer, though, that the Philadelphia Eagles built better teams, though. And I think that the Philadelphia Eagles fans should say that with pride. They should be like, yeah, our franchise is better run than you. You can't build a team that can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. We can. We've done it multiple times. We've done it when it actually matters. You can't. We've actually won Super Bowls. You can't. That's on you. Your quarterback, who you said is great and special, they haven't, Joe Burrow didn't find another gear in the Super Bowl. He didn't. He could have won that Super Bowl. He did not. He did not. I blame coaching and I defend Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, etc. Like I defend those guys. I really do. I even defended Patrick Mahomes this past Super Bowl, and to be like, the Eagles were just a better team. I don't care how great of a quarterback you are. You're going up against a better team. What am I going to expect you to do? Just be able to win just because? Like, that's not how this works. The Eagles are just a better team. So it is always a difficult situation for Philadelphia Eagles fans. And I always encourage them, don't do what these other fan bases do. What the Bills franchises do, what the Bills fans do, what the Ravens fans, and especially what the Chiefs fans do. They constantly want to pull down their team, their coaching, and all the other support that their quarterback gets to elevate their quarterback. Philadelphia Eagles fans don't got to do that. You have a great quarterback and a great team. And you play special in the biggest moments. You hang 55 in the NFC Championship game, right? You could have put up another 55 against the Kansas City Chiefs, against the best defense that the Eagles could have played, because the Eagles had the best defense. You're so great and you win so massively and your quarterback plays so special that they don't even think that your quarterback is special because the team itself is so special. That's a great place to be in. Honestly. It's, fine. You guys go debate who's special, who's late, who's great, whatever. They're just going to keep winning. I mean, even in that loss against the Kansas City Chiefs, he was special. Jalen Hurts was clearly special. So, it's a good problem to have. It really is. But don't tell me that Jalen Hurts isn't in this next level, because the 49ers, awesome team. They weren't even close. They didn't do anything even close what the Eagles did versus the Chiefs when the when the 49ers played the Chiefs in either Super Bowl, quite frankly, but especially the most recent one in 23 with Brock Purdy. So on one side, you just can't say that the Eagles essentially have no chance to win this Super Bowl, have the Eagles dominate, have Jalen Hurts be dominant, and then just be like, yeah, well, what are you going to do? It just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I do understand. That's why, to me, it's more of a nuanced conversation. I understand why you're not going to put him in a Patrick Mahomes category or a Josh Allen category, because those quarterbacks, especially like a Josh Allen, who's just very physical, like they do different things and they do it at a different rate. And it's football's tricky, man. Football is tricky. I said this about Josh Allen. I think if Josh Allen was on the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he wins a bunch of Super Bowls. If Josh Allen was on the Philadelphia Eagles, I think he wins a bunch of Super Bowls. I think once you reach this level of greatness, if you're on a better team, like it's safe to say you're going to win. I'm not going to, and I love a Justin Herbert. I'm not necessarily 100% convinced that Justin Herbert, considering what I've seen him do in some of these games, it's like I'm not 100% convinced I could throw him on the Eagles team in 22 and they win the Super Bowl. I'm definitely not convinced and don't believe at all that you put Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield, Tua, any of these other quarterbacks. I do think if Joe Burrow was on one of these Eagles teams, they win the Super Bowl. If Lamar Jackson's kind of a question mark, quite frankly. He is a little bit of a question mark, mainly because of some of the games that he's had in the playoffs. Now, again, I do call out coaching more than that, but it still is a thing. It still is like you can't say without a shadow of a doubt. I can say without a shadow of a doubt with Josh Allen because he hasn't even had great coaching. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, we've seen it. So, I think he's kind of there. Do I think that those quarterbacks, especially a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and a Patrick Mahomes, because of their physicality, they're in a position to carry a team more so than a Jalen Hurts? I think that's okay to admit. I think that's okay to say out loud, right? I do. I think that's totally fair. But is it also okay to say Jalen Hurts actually potentially maximizes the great talent around him better than a Lamar Jackson, than a Josh Allen, than a Joe Burrow? Yeah. I mean, so far, that's the evidence that we have. That's the evidence that we have. Now, we haven't seen Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar, etc. on a team as great as, say, the Philadelphia Eagles. But the evidence that we have right now is we've seen Jalen Hurts be able to do something that any of these other teams that have had great teams, great rosters, we have not seen. Heck, Patrick Mahomes himself was on an amazing stacked offense with Andy Reid and taking over the league, and Mahomes himself taking over the league with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, right? Like they're putting up cartoon numbers during the regular season. They didn't look like that in the Super Bowl. They did not look like that in this. Patrick Mahomes did not look like that in the Super Bowl. Looked pretty pedestrian. Was pretty lucky to go up against a Jimmy Garoppolo. Like that's the difference. So even Jalen Hurts has shown, if you want to even compare, well, because we know that the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes has been on great teams. We know that. But did he do that in a Super Bowl? No, he did not. Did Jalen Hurts do that in a Super Bowl? Yes. Yes. Twice. That has to count for something. It has to count for something. We can't say that the Super Bowl is the most important game in all of American sports, have said quarterback ball out, and not have that contribute to is someone elite or not. It does not make sense. But like I said, this is actually a messier conversation, which is why I kind of enjoy it. Some days I'm in the mood for it. Some days I'm not. Especially post-Super Bowl, I was all fired up and being like, let's go. Right now, I'm kind of just like, whatever. Yeah, it's interesting. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles? Do you think he's not elite? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.